Howdy, everybody. How's everybody doing? Happy, let's see, what's today? It is April 16th. Happy April 16th. He says it's July, dude. And there was just an earthquake. Alaska was just rocked by a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. Water levels have dropped by 15 feet in the last 30 minutes near Raspberry Island over by Kodiak. Whoa, crazy, man. Crazy talk. That's what happens when you jump online and you look. Let's see. Oh, trying to figure out my video, dude. You know, I'm always messing with stuff, messing with things, trying to figure out the best way to get some video going. But this looks pretty good. It's been a minute, and I'm popping my ears because, man, I'm still my ears are a little weird. I'm always messing with stuff. There you go. Okay. We got that. All right, let's check LinkedIn. Make sure that I'm streaming on LinkedIn. Give people, crazy talk. He says, it's crazy. Mark, bro, I love you, man. You know, it's great. It's great to see you. If there's one person I can count on every time I hit the go live button, it's Mr. Mark Houts, everybody. The king himself of the 4Gs and all of the 5Gs and everything included. Oh man, I'm so looking forward to seeing everyone. It's dude, WLPC can't come quick enough, man. All right, hold on, checking the LinkedIn. It's great to see you. Oh, look at that, me talking about you talking about me. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Drew Lentz, the wireless nerd. It is July 16th, 2025. Man, what a last couple of weeks. Let's catch up. Let's see. What's been going on? I went to Australia for the first time. That was pretty awesome. Got a trip to go down under, and I went to Melbourne and had a fantastic time down there. Got to meet some of the most incredible people. Had just a spectacular time learning about Wi-Fi and the use cases that they have in places that I hadn't thought about before, and seeing just a different view on what Wi-Fi is and how people use it, and the services that it provides to people who don't traditionally have services or do have services but in a different way. It was really, really neat to see that. And I gotta give a shout out to some of the salespeople at Aruba, because holy moly, dude, Aruba's all over Australia. I saw lots of Aruba. So kudos to that. I even wanted to reach out to Aaron, but I guess he's up in Sydney, so I didn't get a chance to see him. But it was just fun to see. I just kept seeing it pop up everywhere. But Australia is a wonderful place. And if you ever get a chance to visit, I mean, please don't hesitate on the opportunity. I ended up, funny, not funny, I ended up, in a Sprinter van filled with people going and doing some site tours and stuff. And it was really neat. And looking at technology, and some of the people that were there tested positive for COVID, 2 days later, a day later. And so I went and stocked up on vitamins and zinc and ate bananas and yogurt and tested and was negative, and everything was safe and we're good. And then I decided that I wasn't just going to sit in my hotel room. I had this crazy hacking cough, and as soon as the cough let up a little bit, I said, I'm just going to walk around. And what I ended up doing is I ended up working from the street that day. I took my cell phone with me, took my AirPods with me, and took my camera, and I walked around the streets of Melbourne for, I don't even know how long, 6 hours or something like that. And I just walked all up and down the central business district, back and forth across the Yarra River, and just really, enjoyed the views, tried to distance myself from people, didn't want to get anybody sick. And it was just a really unfortunate but fortunate event. Because everybody got sick, it gave me a chance to go get some scoliosis out of my system and go walk around. So it was really neat. I want to go to land down under, Mark says. It was cool, man. It was cool. We tried all kinds of different food. I learned all about chicken parmies, thanks to some of my new friends introduced me to the number one bar food in Australia, chicken parma. And it didn't fall from me that people take the A off the end and they throw Y's and everything, like Tasmania. The people from Tasmania are Tassies. The people from Australia are Aussies. When you order a chicken parma, you order a chicken parmy. It's kind of fun. We learned some great sayings from my new buddies in Australia when we were talking about going out and doing something, in the States or wherever. You talk about, look, we're not here to waste any time. We're not here to just to mess around. We're here to get stuff done. In Australia, there's actually a saying that we're not here to beep spiders. So the whole joke was all about you know, beeping spiders. I'm not gonna say it. Don't want to get flagged for anything. Anyway, it was funny. We learned some sayings. Saw some kangaroos. Obviously, we had our eyes out the whole time. We didn't see any spiders. We looked for lots and lots of spiders because it seems like all of American TikTok is fixated on Australia being the land where everything is trying to kill you, and one of those things is the huge huntsman spider. We even went to the zoo and didn't find spiders at the zoo. So what are you gonna do, man? Anyway. Australia was great, and it was a wonderful time. I hate to say the whole, if you get a chance to go down there, dude, that's totally not realistic. And right as soon as I said it before, I was like, that's, yes, if you ever get a chance to drive a Ferrari, make sure you take somebody up on that. Give me a break, dude. If travels happen to take you to Australia, or if you want a cool place to go check out Australia. It's probably out of the way for a lot of people, but for those of you that it's not, it's pretty neat, man. So that happened, and then the sickness hit, and that was kind of rough, but got through that. Not too bad. A little bit of a scratchy throat. This is one of those things where I was going to go and I was going to record last week, but my voice sounded pretty bad, so I thought I'm going to wait a minute and push the podcast to this week. So anyway, what else is happening? Let's see. It's summertime in the U.S., and so we got kids at home. So my daughter made a special appearance on, I think, 2 episodes ago, and my son's been running around jumping in on conference calls with me. So summer is summering, as they say. What do I got going on? Headed out to the World Surfing League, as y'all know if you follow my travels through the projects I get to work on with Eero. Eero is a big sponsor of the World Surfing League, so I'm going to be out at Huntington Beach for the U.S. Open. The World Surfing League, WSL US Open, is happening from July 27th through August 3rd, and it's a big to-do down in Huntington Beach. Lots of professional surfers out there, lots of up-and-coming amateur surfers out there, even surf camp for the little ones. So I'll be out at Huntington. If you guys are in Southern California and you want to say hi, let me know. If you want to check out the surfing stuff, it's free and open to the public. Come on over, come say hello. If you want to see what I'm doing with Eero, we've got a massively cool deployment that's going on down there, providing Wi-Fi all across the area. It's going to be really, really neat. I get a kick out of doing this stuff. It's like a live working lab for me. So I get to get deployment, a little bit more deployment underneath my hands or underneath my belt and get some stuff done. So be out there for that. This weekend, if you're in Houston, I'll be at the Texas Restaurant Association show. I'm a huge supporter of Texas Restaurant Association. Just so happens that some meetings collided. That worked out. So Sunday and Monday, I'll be up in H-Town. Astros are not playing, but if you happen to find yourself at TRA, let me know. I'll be up there for Sunday and then all of Monday. And then Huntington after that. And trade show wise, just starting to look at the calendar to wrap up the end of the year. WLPC is coming up. Meter Up is coming up. And then there's something else coming up at the beginning of AWS reInvent's coming up at the beginning of December. So if you happen to be at any of those, I think registration is still open for Meter Up. It's going to take place in November, Tuesday, November 18th at the Meter offices. Is it 155 9th Street, San Francisco, November 18th, 2025. Come learn what Meter's up to. They're doing some really neat stuff. They just announced $170 million in funding, which is phenomenal. They've got some new announcements with partners and with what they're some of the services that they're bringing to market. So if you get a chance, you want to learn more, registration is open now. If you go to meter.com/meterup, early bird tickets are $349, and if you register before July 25th, you've got 9 days. They're $349. After July 25th, it cranks up to $449. And I don't know who all the speakers are that are going to be attending this one, but right now, Sanjit Biswas is going to be there, CEO and co-founder of Samsara and former CEO and co-founder of Meraki. So very cool to have him be on the stage. Going to learn some great lessons there. Obviously, Anil and Sunil, the co-founders of Meter, are going to be there. It says the full list is going to be coming up soon, and it's going to be really neat. If you don't know anything about Meter, check it out. But most importantly, this is one of those things where there's a vendor message behind it, but the thing that I'm excited about seeing here is what they're doing with AI and what they announced with Canvas. I don't know if you remember it, when we covered it last year and when they did Meet Her Up last year. What was so interesting to watch was they did this live view of this thing called Canvas inside Meter. I was like, oh, this is great, man. That'd be really cool if that was made publicly available on other AI platforms. Like 3 days later, ChatGPT announced this thing called Canvas where you can do this AI stuff. And I don't know if that was done on purpose or maybe accidentally on purpose, but it was neat to see the innovation that they were pushing towards with AI. So I would strongly encourage you to check this out if you want to see a glimpse of what they're doing and what their version of the future looks like. If you're interested, please visit meter.com/meterup, and I will see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be some totally engaging conversation, and everybody from the team, I believe, is going to be pretty accessible there. So if you have questions about what they're doing and what their products are, they're going to be there. It's a great place where last year I sat down at a table and it was a lot of us that know each other in the industry showed up. We're like, I didn't know you're going to be here. I didn't know you're going to be here. And the next thing you know, we're at a picnic table having these incredible conversations about what the future of AI is and how that applies to networking. And, it's so crazy. I think that was just a year ago. And here we are. And, the conversations now, the one that keeps resonating in my head is the one from Andy Jassy from Amazon saying, and paraphrasing, where he said, the people are going to be successful are the people that learn how to use AI and the people that adopt AI and that adapt to AI. And there's so many neat things I think happening in that space where people are using it to enhance what their capabilities are and to help them be better about their jobs and take care of the mundane tasks way faster. I'm such a strong believer in that. I think it's really, really neat. Let's see. Remember, it's not MFD, Drew. I'm playing a being meter up, but it's not mobility field day. Yeah. So last year, some of my pals gave me a hard time because I kept raising my hand and asking questions in the middle of the presentation. I'm gonna let Dean Bubbly handle that one this year. We'll let Dino be the guy that interrupts. I'll try and stay quietly in the back. I can't help it, man. Enthusiasm and excitement. As I said last year, they knew what they were getting when they invited me. Anyway, so we've got that's coming up. Then WLPC Prague is coming up. I think voting sessions they might be closed. Are they still open? October 14th through 16th in Prague, Czech Republic. Boot camps are the 11th through the 13th. And right now, registration options are set up. Main conference, £2,600 or €2,600. Main conference of boot camp is €5,600. It's at a new location this year. It was previously at the NH Hotel, and now I don't see it on here. Let me see. I don't see the listing on here. But if you need listing, go ahead and look up WLPC for 2025. It's going to be really neat. It's going to be fun. It's a new property and new hotel. The sessions, I believe the session picker, let me see, give me a second. Let's see, voting for WLPC sessions 2025. Let's see if I can find this. I know Keith had posted it online. If you don't follow Keith Parsons on LinkedIn, do me a favor and go find Mr. Keith R. Parsons and give him a follow. You don't have to connect with him if you don't know him. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then just follow him. That brings me to something I wanted to chat about real quick. I get lots of requests from people that want to follow me on LinkedIn or that want to connect with me on LinkedIn. There's people that follow and then there's people that connect. And I am pretty picky about the people that I actually connect with on LinkedIn. My whole concept is if I haven't had a real conversation with you and I don't feel like I know who you are and you know who I am, I'm not inclined to connect with you. I only really want to connect with people on LinkedIn that I feel that I could use as a reference or they could use me as a reference for something. So if you're sending me a LinkedIn request, expect me to send people your way. If you say, "Hey, I work in this space at this company. I'm a network engineer at Walt Disney." If someone asks me, "Hey, what's it like to deploy at a theme park?" I'm gonna be like, "I don't know, but I know somebody who does." I'm gonna do that, and it's not like for jobs or for sales. God, please quit trying to sell me stuff on LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me. If you're trying to sell me something, dude, find another way to do it. I hate being sold to on LinkedIn. But I use LinkedIn as a tool to route relationships and to connect with people. And I find that I get a lot of people, especially, what's nuts is, especially since I started with Eero and my job, it says I work for Amazon, which I do work for Amazon. It says Amazon on my LinkedIn. I get all these people like sending me messages saying, I've got a great solution for Amazon. I'm like, I get it, dude. I get the whole sales thing, but I use LinkedIn to really to communicate with people that I've connected with. And so I don't really like the random things that come on. So if I ignore you on LinkedIn, I even say it like it's at the top of my profile. If you just try and blindly connect with me, I'm probably going to deny you. But if you say, hey, I'd really like to talk to you about something, then I'm totally open to it. Like, I'm absolutely open to it, but send a message with it. And yeah, man, I mean, I really feel like LinkedIn, we need to keep LinkedIn for that space. There's no other space like that. There really isn't. That's what I use it for. And maybe I'm old and crotchety or whatever, but that's what I use LinkedIn for. So, long story short, please don't try and connect with me on LinkedIn if I don't actually know you, and if you're not comfortable with me sending people to you to ask questions about what you do. That's it. That's the long and short of it. If you want to connect with me otherwise, find me on Twitter, find me on X, find me on YouTube, find me on every other social media site, but keep LinkedIn, for what LinkedIn's supposed to be. That being said, something came up. I got flag tagged on a list where someone tagged me, and it was really, it was neat. I wasn't on the main list. I was like on a sub list, but whatevs. And the question was asked, who are the main people that you follow in the wireless industry where you get your news from, or you get information from? Maybe not just news, but to find out what's going on. I have my list of people that I can rattle off the top of my head, right? Keith and I go way back now, I guess, because that's what we do. But I always look to Keith. I look at Keith Townsend, the CTO advisor. I look at Maribel, the analyst. I look at Sean Morgan. I look at all the analyst side of it. There's people like Mark, that I look at for 4G and LTE stuff. Good old Ron. Ron's like on the tip of my tongue. There's Ron Westfall. I look for people that I appreciate their opinion and their candid opinion. Jake Snyder, love listening to Jake. Wes Purvis, love listening to Wes. There's people that I look at. What I'd like to ask you is, who are the people that you follow? Because if there's someone that I don't know, I would love to learn more. You've got the big influencer types, right? You've got the the Alexises of the world and the Evas of the world. And Eva, congratulations, by the way, on the job move. I know that was probably a really tough decision for you, and I appreciate you reaching out to me. But I'm so happy for you. It's always cool to embark on a new adventure. So kudos for making that decision, and I wish you all the best on that. So like people like Eva who are sharing information. Chettle, who sends stuff all the time. I mean, my LinkedIn feed is like, I love looking at it because it's the stuff that I nerd out on. And then, from a manufacturer's perspective, God, it's like UC doesn't know how to not release stuff. You know what I mean? It's like it wakes up and he's like, oh, I'm just going to release 15 new things today. So I love to see that because that pushes the industry forward. I love to see what Cytos is doing with their Wave device and some of the new things that they have going on. These are people that I look at, that I look forward to seeing things. So if there's someone that Fernay, yes, man, Fernay, for sure. I mean, if you want to know how stuff works, oh man, I feel like we need a poster board or like a message board that says, if you're looking for analysis, here's the top 3 people. If you're looking for actually getting shit done, here's the top 3 people. If you're looking for insight, if you're looking for opinion, that's one thing that we don't have. I feel like, and that, like in a good way. I don't feel like the industry or the wireless industry has lots of opinionated people about certain things because we all just kind of deal with tech. It's been a while. Although Keith has been stirring up some ruckus online. I saw his post today where he was talking about. I don't remember. I've got to look it up. But it's been fun to see some flame wars start. I love it. I love the opinions. Keep them coming. Anyway, so I just want to ask you. First and foremost, keep LinkedIn the way that LinkedIn's supposed to be, and then number 2. Tag someone, man. Tag who you think we should be listening to and share it with everybody. Don't ever be scared to share who you listen to with everyone. We all have the same, we're all trying to get basically the same information. I comb the news to find weird stuff, but I'm old school, and so I still use RSS feeds. I don't know if I've talked about that or what I do, but I mean, I really miss Google Reader, but I use InnoReader. I don't know the correct way to say it. I use that to aggregate all my feeds from everywhere, and then that's how I sift through some of the weird stuff that's going on. So, speaking of the weird stuff that's going on, where do we start? So this is 2 weeks old now because I haven't had a moment to do the podcast, but the HP and Juniper merger is complete. Drew Murray did an incredible write-up with Packet Pushers, and it's at packetpushers.net. If you look up Drew Murray, he did a really, really great write-up, in my opinion, about what was going on with the merger. So I'm sharing it on the screen if you're watching right now. But his thing is, he says, if you read through it, what message are they trying to convey with what they're talking about? What's going to happen to the wireless portfolio? Are they missing an opportunity? And so to summarize it, and I'll leave the last part out so you can go visit Drew's blog here at packetpushers.net. One of the biggest questions about the HPE-Juniper merger was how to rationalize two competing WLAN portfolios. In fact, it might be the biggest question. Well, for us in the Wi-Fi space, yeah, probably the biggest question. I would agree with that one, Drew. From one Drew to another. Reading between the lines, my impression is that the two offerings will remain separate for the time being while HPE works on ingesting Juniper and integrating product management, engineering, marketing, blah, 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 blah. That said, why are we still trying to guess what's going to happen? Neri and Rhymes said more than a year that they've had more than a year to formulate a plan. So what's going on? Allowing the uncertainty to continue is a strategic error. It creates a wedge that competitors, including Cisco, Extreme, Arista, Huawei, and Ubiquiti, can exploit while this newly merged entity is being thoughtful. So I agree with that. It's like as soon as that thing was announced, I feel like there should have been something big, like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We've been sitting on it. We've been thinking about it. Here it is. And it's not out there. So it still begs the question, what is this going to look like organization-wise, branding-wise? Going forward, HPE will have a networking business unit called HPE Networking, and Rami from Juniper is going to be running that, so that's pretty cool. The business unit will integrate product management, engineering, and other functions, and it's going to be HPE Aruba Networking and HPE Juniper Networking. Let's see where that goes, but we'll see how they bring this together, because this to me is the fascinating thing. What's really going to happen? There's the spin out of Mist AI and the way that who's going to bid on it, where's that going to land, where's it going to call home, how's it going to be licensed, who else can license it, will it be locked down, will it not be locked down? There's a lot of questions about what's going on there that have yet to be answered, and that's okay. I mean, we're not sitting in the boardrooms. We don't need the answers, but it is, I think, as Drew pointed out, I think as a lot of us look at this with kind of the elephant in the room is what's going to happen? What does this mean for the industry as a whole? And it's still that whole, if I'm a Juniper customer, do I continue to buy Juniper today? Like if I need to buy some new APs, am I buying them today or am I waiting? What if I'm a Aruba customer? Am I buying some new Aruba APs today or am I holding on to them and waiting? And how is that affecting sales cycles? How is that affecting technology? And how is that not opening the door for a competitor to come in and say, hey, while they're figuring out what's going on, here's a new product, let me introduce it. And it's, what are you going to do about that? Speaking of the way that two companies come together, Eva posted something about this, and it was mentioned at Cisco Live, and it struck a chord. I think it struck an emotional chord more than anything else, but also that sense of pride. And when you have people that traditionally wear bright green jackets walking through Cisco Live not wearing bright green jackets, you know who I'm talking about, it makes a statement. And so the statement is that Meraki has gone full blue. Pantone 368C Meraki Green is no longer on the Meraki dashboard, been replaced by Pantone 296C, otherwise known as Midnight Blue. Midnight Blue marks a new era, they said, not a departure, but a doubling down. Well, a doubling down for who, man? It's kind of a, like, there goes Meraki, long live Meraki, like that's a bummer, man. And I think there were more people that were sad about that than a lot of other things, but insert that into the chaos that's happening at the other organization. What's happening with Cisco Meraki? And it's, the thing about it is man, this is like, I don't want to say it because I want people to get mad at me, but I also don't want people to not get mad at me, I guess. There's a lot of benefit to Meraki becoming Cisco, right? I feel. And there's also a lot of benefit for Cisco learning from Meraki, I feel. I think that it can go both ways. And I think that what's happened has just been really tough to watch over the last decade with the amount of innovation and things that are taking place. Talked about this right after Cisco Live, right? Like, and the Magic Quadrant still bringing up conversation to this day. I mean, I have thousands and thousands of views on my Magic Quadrant post, and even other friends have posted online that they've got like 100,000 views on their Magic Quadrant post. The Magic Quadrant, Gartner, I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if you did it just to get people all riled up, but holy moly, I haven't heard this many people talk about the Magic Quadrant in a really long time. It's been not a shocker, I guess, but at least it's been a conversation point. But not just from the branding side, but from the culture side and from the people side and from the technology side, watching what's happening at Cisco happen and then watching what's happening at Juniper and HPE happen is like, there's chaos, crazy hands, chaos everywhere. Yeah, watch Jake and Sam on the Tech Field Day podcast this week for a great viewpoint on the HPE-Juniper thing. Good shout out, man. Jake and Sam probably are those are two people that I am strong fans of, and so I would love to hear what they're talking about there. So this week, great viewpoint by Jakey Snyder. I always call him Jakey. I love Jake. Just need a hug from Jake every once in a while. Just makes the world better, man. Just give Jake a hug. Well, don't just walk up and give him a hug. And you should probably ask him first. He might say no, but if you get a chance to hug Jake. He's a cool dude. Sam will hug you no matter what. We love Sam. Anyway, sorry, sidetrack there. But those two probably have a really good viewpoint on it. So I'm definitely gonna be looking for that and listening for that perspective. All right. Speaking of, let's see. So got those two mergers. Oh, another one. A name that popped up out of nowhere. Just thought I'd shout this out when I saw it. Todd Nightingale, who used to run networking at Cisco. Todd Nightingale was just named as the president and COO of Arista. And by just named, I mean 2 weeks ago. But I saw that. And I was like, well, good for Todd, man. Arista has been like I remember when there was all that like animosity from Cisco towards Arista and what they're doing with their switches, and Juniper got in. Everyone's like, rah, switches. Everybody's mad at each other. I wonder with Todd's background with Meraki and what he did at Cisco, I wonder if this is going to help push Arista Wireless in a bigger direction, man. I love the team over there. Some of the best presenters at WLPC are from Arista. Some of the most knowledgeable people are from Arista. But yet I still walk down the street. I don't see Arista access points installed anywhere. Don't see them. There's no market visibility there. I'm sure there's opportunities. I'm sure that there's deals out there. But from a pure visibility perspective, and me and probably everyone who's listening to this podcast, first thing we do is we look up whenever we walk into a room. And I don't see Arista, man. I haven't seen Arista in a while. Anyway, so congratulations to Todd. You got your work cut out for you, but I think in a good way. That's pretty neat. What else is happening? HAPS. What's the HAPS? Okay, HAPS. Let me open up a deal here. Who knows about HAPS? HAPS. Ready? Sharing my screen. This from Light Reading. By the way, shameless plug. Tomorrow, July 17th, I'm doing a webinar with Light Reading and Eero talking about operator results from Wi-Fi 7, from a Wi-Fi 7 survey. So the survey went out to all these different operators to learn about how they're deploying Wi-Fi 7, who's adopting Wi-Fi 7, why they're adopting Wi-Fi 7, why they're pushing Wi-Fi 7. I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow on a webinar with Light Reading. So tune in. Be there or BL7. Anyway, back to this. Cambridge Consultants is taking 5G to the stratosphere. Look at this, man. Capgemini subsidiary is involved in creating HAPS technology. Okay, HAPS. Ready? High altitude, where is it? High altitude platform systems. So we've talked about LEO. We've talked about, you've got terrestrial microwave. You've got private LTE. You've got 5G, LTE, all the stuff down here. You've got low Earth orbiting satellites. Then you have the geostationary satellites. You've got HAPS, which is a little bit lower than that. HAPS is something where they're beaming 5G up right around, let's see, what's the distance? Let's see if it says in here. HAPS's designed altitude is around 20 kilometers above ground. At lower altitudes, you can serve a greater number of users with the same spectrum, says someone who has the last name of Brock. Yeah, I'm a terrible reporter. What are you going to do? Anyway, there's this person whose last name is Brock, and I can't find his first name. Anyway, Cambridge consultant CTO. See, there you go. Cambridge consultant CTO Martin Brock told Light Reading during an interview, a single platform over London could create a virtual network of virtual cell sites, hundreds of them, around the ring of the M25. And what they're talking about is that they put these cell sites up on some type of craft up 20 kilometers above the ground, and they're beaming 5G down. And one of the benefits of it obviously is that it's lower latency and it's higher speeds, because it's not going all the way up to low Earth orbit and then coming back. So there's this talk about what can be done with it. Recent examples of internet access being affected by emergency situations, recent blackouts in the Iberian Peninsula. Dude, think about, unfortunately, what just happened in Texas with the floods. Having friends who unfortunately were either affected by that or had other family members or friends affected by that. One of the biggest things that they talk about in Central Texas was that there's just no connectivity, and it's not like the flood knocked out the connectivity. There's no connectivity out there to begin with. It's very difficult to get a cell signal in that area, period. And when there's emergency alert systems and all this other stuff that's supposed to take place, if your cell phone isn't working, it's just not working. You're not going to receive a message that you can't get because you don't have connectivity. And then if a natural disaster happens, like what happened with the floods in Central Texas, now you have all these first responders and people trying to communicate. You might have people who are survivors with their cell phones trying to get online, and you still don't have connectivity. It's crazy to think about. In our daily lives, we count on connectivity every minute, every day. But when a natural disaster occurs, where's that connectivity? Where's that connectivity going to come from? Who's going to be providing it, and how are they going to be providing it? And so with HAPS, one of the things that they're talking about is being able to temporarily deploy things like that, not just to cover the areas that need it, day to day, but cover it when there's emergency response that needs to take place. So this is talking about 5G on higher frequency spectrum. I don't see the spectrum coverage specifically of what they're talking about there, but it's this idea that SPL's technology was trialed in 2023 by BT. It's this idea that they're going to put this stuff up, and it's going to be another form of communication for what's already out there. And then on top of that, at the same time, SoftBank has decided to launch some of their services in Japan starting in 2026. And so if you see, there's this really cool little shuttle that they put up there. And this talks about the future drone communication, sky-based mobility forming part of SoftBank's larger goal of creating 3D next-gen network for the 6G era. So SoftBank is launching this using lighter-than-air vehicles. The U.S.-based aerospace company that develops lighter-than-air vehicles, it's called Sky, S-C-E-Y-E, Sky? Man, I can't pronounce things. I think we're just out of pronounceable names at this point, so people are just making shit up. Anyway, under this partnership, SoftBank gives exclusive rights to the Sky HAPS platform in Japan. The move is part of SoftBank's long-term plan to build next-generation network. But again, these are UAVs that are flying up there, and they're beaming 5G and potentially 6G onto the ground. So if you want more information about that, RCR's got a really good article covering that. But what a cool time we live in, where we're not just talking about terrestrial communications and low Earth orbiting conversations or transmissions. We're talking about conversations with things that are kind of in the middle of it. So there's always a solution to be had for broadband. Let's see. We got comments from Rob. Looking forward to LR webinar. Long live Wi-Fi 7. More satellite connectivity is needed. Satellite growth bead. Oh yeah, man, the bead stuff. Good call out, Ron. The bead stuff, the funding mechanisms that are out there. I go back to the comments that we were making before, where it's like the satellite guys were trying to get in the room when bead funding, when broadband plans and everything was first coming out. All this broadband advocacy was coming out. Obama administration, Biden administration. Oh, broadband, we need broadband, 100 megabit. And the satellite guys like, hey, we want to play. And everyone's like, no, satellite guys, go away. You can't do this. You can't handle this. And so they're like sitting outside. I picture like these satellites sitting outside the door all sad because they don't have the capacity to do it. And now we're at this spot where, for one reason or another, not only have the satellite guys been invited into the room, but they've been given the prime spot in a lot of these rooms. I'm all for connectivity where you can get it, when you can get it. I think that part of closing the digital divide is making sure that everybody has access. And there's the equity component of it where, well, is it worth giving someone access if they don't have the same access as someone else? Like, is it worth me shooting 25 megabit per second across rural America if everyone else has 100 megabit? It doesn't even mean anything, and that's not equitable to do that. But I think something is better than nothing to some extent. Don't give them something that doesn't allow them to do anything. But dude, 25 meg versus 100 meg, give them 25 meg. I mean, there's people starving for that type of internet access right now. All right, John Warren 101, great content. Got to run for now. We'll watch the next one. Sure, cool. Appreciate you listening. Thanks for the comments, man. I need the little horn that's on here. So yeah, I mean, they've been brought in. The BEAD funding hopefully will go. I'm not even going to talk about it because we don't know where it's going to go. Nobody knows where it's going to go. There's like one day it's on, the next day it's off, and then each one of the states is saying, well, we're going to move forward with our stuff, and then they're like, well, never mind because we're not going to get federal funding. I think we just need to do a whole session on BEAD and what's going on with FCC. Ron, you and I should hash this one out, man, because that's a crazy one. We should bring on someone from Shelby. We should bring on someone, to talk about some of the things that are happening with broadband equity. It's such a great conversation, but it went from being such a sure thing to just being whatever it is now. And that, obviously the political environment in the United States isn't lending itself to normalcy at the moment. Like every day something different is happening, something here and something there. So I don't even know if it's worth a conversation at this point. It's one thing to talk about it, and then tomorrow, Lord only knows what's going to change, what's going to happen. But maybe a current state of affair of BEAD is long overdue. I'm sure someone's talking about it. Maybe reach out to them and bring them on. So yeah, I think direct satellite is rising, and God bless Texas Hill Country. Yeah, man, I can't even imagine. My kids go to summer camp in the Texas Hill Country, further away from what's happening. That was on the Guadalupe. My kids are up over at Inks Lake, and I saw a video of the dam today at Inks Lake, Lake Buchanan. The Buchanan Dam, they just opened it up to flood out Inks Lake because of all the rainfall. There's it's such a tough time for natural disasters. I mean, that being said, let's talk about that. Oh my gosh, let's talk about that real quick. Natural disasters. I have always tried to make myself available along the Texas Gulf Coast when something happens with hurricanes in this area, because I've grown up here. I know what happens. I know what to expect from storms. I'm a ham operator. I'm registered with ITDRC. I'm registered with my ARL group. If something happens and I'm here and I can help, I will. And there's so many great services out there. I have recently had the opportunity to contribute to the AWS Natural Disaster Response and Disaster Recovery Program. If you don't know anything about that and you're an Amazon customer, look up AWS Disaster Response. It's such a cool program that they have. Cisco has their disaster response thing, and it's awesome. I mean, their cars and their trucks and everything are awesome. It seems like there's a lot of good corporations doing disaster response and taking that on. One of the best ones, and I got to say it, man, one of the best ones I've ever seen, HEB, dude. If you're in the state of Texas, you are blessed to have HEB here at home, and what they do when there's a disaster and the way that they mobilize is incredible. So if you want to see something, if you want to see people getting together and helping in our communities in Texas, go look at what HEB's done. Look at what AWS has done. Look at what Cisco does. Look at what ITDRC does. We are at this time, we're about to jump into hurricane season down here in the South. A whole bunch of storms are expected. And, you've heard me advocate for doing things in your local community. Let this be a call to attention for you. If you're in wireless, if you're in technology, if you have the ability to contribute and a natural disaster hits your area, do not hesitate, and do not hesitate to reach out to people in your network. You'll find that there's lots of people that'll help you. If you need to set up microwave links, if you need to supply Wi-Fi, if you need to get people online, sometimes communication can be the difference between life or death for everybody, from kids all the way up to adults and senior citizens. We have the knowledge to do this stuff. It comes so easy to us that we should really be using this in every chance that we get. So please let this be a call to attention or a call to action. If something comes up this hurricane season, and God, I hope it doesn't, but if it does, please, reach out to me if you need help. If you need someone to help contribute time or equipment or resources, either through me or through Eero or through Amazon or through Wi-Fi Stand or through Frontera, whatever it is, please let me know how I can help. We've got the capability to do this. I think that we should all really do that. So just quick blurb on that. Might as well talk about that. Anyway, on a different note, hopefully it's a good safe season. On a different note, there was something this popped up, and it got my attention because I hadn't thought about this. Fierce Wireless ran an article June 24th called "Influencer-Led MVNOs Are Having a Moment." And here's what could be next. I had not thought about influencer-led MVNOs. MVNO is a mobile virtual network operator. So if you have T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon, right, the three big MNOs, mobile network operators that are out there, you can form an MVNO, a mobile virtual network operator, and you can go in and say, hey, I want to sell my service on your network and just utilize your network, and I'm going to pay you bulk fees for doing this. It's what Comcast does with Xfinity. It's what it's all the major cable companies do this. It's what Boost Mobile does. It's what Cricket does. It's what Ryan, what's his name, does. Celebrities do it. I remember back in the day at an old CTIA, there were announcements talking about this, about celebrities doing it, and it never really took off. But now what you're seeing is there's been a couple of them that have popped up, and this is not a political conversation. I'm using this as an example because I'm staring at it right now. Trump Mobile. So you have someone who has some amount of influence who launches their own phone and who launches their own MVNO. The pricing is kind of funny, $47.45, because he's the 47th and 45th president. So $47.45 a month. Rockstar Wireless, Millwall Wireless, Smartless Mobile. These are people that are looking at offering MVNO services. And imagine things like Eilish Mobile for Billie Eilish. This is saying offering early tour ticket access and zero-rated Apple Music. Or Dude Perfect Wireless, giving fans free monthly data top-ups for trick shot uploads. I had not stopped to consider what celebrity MVNOs could do and the way that they could play into that. Specifically the one that got my attention was Eilish Mobile, for example. Imagine tying some type of subscription or some type of feature like Nike Wireless or Adidas Wireless, and you get to know where all the sneaker drops are happening. Imagine a wireless nerd wireless where you get, I don't know, advertising free Waves podcasts. I don't know. It's a joke. It's not. I'm not going to do it. But there's a lot of stuff that's out there that can take advantage of this, and seeing how these MNOs have saturated the marketplace. From a coverage perspective, there's lots and lots of coverage. It'll be interesting to see how this and if this continues to progress. So why celebrities in the crowded market? Because culture now conquers commodity. This is a fascinating article to me, where it says whether it's telehealth from Trump Mobile, content from Smartless, or exclusives from Rockstar Building Services transforms a $40 phone bill into a cross-selling ecosystem. Yeah, it's phenomenal to think about. What would be something that you're interested in? I wonder like, what if I could subscribe to a wireless carrier that offered me, it'd probably be concert tickets, man. It'd probably be like Live Nation Mobile, so I could get discounts on tickets to sporting events and to concerts or exclusive. This is just like, having the Amex. Like, oh my God, imagine American Express Mobile where you get free access to the Centurion Lounge, or you get to call in, have their concierge service. It's interesting that we're in this day and age that this is actually a thing. So is it going to take off? I don't know. It's not just a headline grabbing gimmick. Thanks to cloud native cores, eSIM, and wholesale 5G, the infrastructure now supports real repeatable economics. Whether it's Trump voters, podcast super fans, or K-pop stans, these micro segments bring a new level of loyalty and stickiness. So I saw that and I was like, man, that's kind of interesting. I had not thought about influencer-led MVNOs, so I thought I would share that with you. What else do I have on here? iOS 26 and iPad OS 26 add a small yet useful Wi-Fi feature to iPhones and iPads. And I saw this and I read it, And I saw that another friend of mine, Mr. Parsons, posted this exact same link, I think, right after I read it. I was like, sweet. I'm glad to know that we read the same stuff. You can tell we're old school because we still read Mac rumors. Sign-in details for captive portal Wi-Fi networks are now synced across iPhones and iPads running iOS 26. For example, while this person was staying at a Hilton hotel, his iPhone prompted him to fill in Wi-Fi details from his iPad that was already connected to the hotel's network. A captive portal is blah, 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 blah. So he showed it off where it allows you to tap a button and paste the same details synchronized from multiple devices so that you don't have to remember what your room number is in the middle of a stay. Simple yet awesome. So there you go. I saw that. I thought that was pretty interesting too. EdgeCore is working with Morse Micro. I saw this. This is okay, man. This is Telecom Paper, which is a site that always has really great stuff, and I don't subscribe to because it's $40 a month, man, and like that's a lot of money. So sorry, I'm not. I guess I don't get to go with that article. Let's see. Oh, I've got a LinkedIn version of it here too. Let's see if I can open that one up and see what happens as I fire off my LinkedIn. Ready? Yes, Michael Daniil reports right here. Driving the future of IoT with long-range power and agility, we're excited to announce a deeper partnership with Morse Micro, adopting their cutting-edge MM8101 Wi-Fi Halo system on a chip at the heart of EdgeCore Wi-Fi's next-generation low-power, long-range IoT solutions. With sub-gig performance, ultra-low power, and WPA3, the MM8108 is the ideal match for evolving Halo product line. So Morse Micro, along with EdgeCore, is supporting Wi-Fi Halo. Then there was other Wi-Fi Halo news since I talked about that. Matter prepares for IoT device explosion and AI at the edge with the first Wi-Fi Halo certification by Morse Micro. Look at this. Klaus has an article posted up. Matter prepares for IoT device explosion. Klaus is talking about this. Morse Micro, what a fun company, what a fun group of products. The Matter standard for IoT was launched in 2022. 1,300 devices have been certified by the Connectivity Standards Alliance. The first Wi-Fi Halo device, the MM6108 EKH05 Lite by Morse Micro, was certified last month. While Wi-Fi Halo is not formally part of the Matter standard, the platform has been certified as a Matter Certified Reference Design product, which means developers can now experiment and create Matter-compatible client devices or access points, taking advantage of Wi-Fi Halo's range and connectivity data rates. That's awesome. Halo for Matter. So cool. So lots of really good things happening in that little IoT space, and I couldn't be happier. I didn't get to talk to those guys. They're down in Australia too. If you ever see them at a trade show, the guys from Morse Micro will give you a Foster's beer, which is pretty funny. So what else we got going on? Montana can no longer lend hotspots out. That falls under the conversation that Ron and I need to have about BEAD and about hotspots. We talked about this for a while with what's going on with old Ted Cruz and what he did in the by blocking people's access to lend out hotspots. This one was tough because it says starting this Tuesday, Montana libraries have lost the ability to provide hotspots. So the funding is dried up for that. The change comes as a result of federal funding losses that previously supported the Montana State Library's hotspot lending program. I wonder what the scale of that is. I think I flagged that because it's like, I think about rural Montana and how many people are using those hotspots. I wonder how many people were affected by that deal. Either way, it's a bummer. Okay, this is cool. You ready for this one? I didn't see this widely broadcast on my network, and that's okay because this is what you listen to waves for, bro. Check it out. Xfinity, Comcast Xfinity, our good friends over in Philly. Xfinity just added Wi-Fi powered motion tracking to its routers. What? Yeah, man. Your Xfinity gateway now works as a motion sensor, but should you enable this feature? Dude, if I had it, I would totally enable it. Xfinity's routers have reported gone from motion tracking, as reported by Cyber News. The company notified customers with an upgrade called Wi-Fi Motion all year. The feature allows users to upgrade or to use a compatible lease gateway and other connected devices to monitor movement within their homes at no extra cost. Wi-Fi devices can even detect small movements, such as a hand wave. Xfinity users who set up the Wi-Fi Motion feature using other devices when they're in their home will receive alerts if the devices sense movement. So you get motion detection, from reflected waves on Wi-Fi, and it'll tell you if there's something going on. Look, there's even a little video. Look at this. It shows that you get a notification. Hey, we noticed something was in your house. Hey, you're not home, and we noticed motion in your house. I wonder if it can detect and differentiate between gatos and dogs or humans. Is it like a cat walking through? Is there a pet raccoon that's walking through your house? I don't know. But this is a step in a crazy direction. We've heard about Wi-Fi sensing and Wi-Fi motion sensing before at WBA and at Wi-Fi Now. We've heard people talk about it. We've seen demonstrations of it. But now being deployed on Xfinity's routers. It utilizes the same chipset, from what I understand. Doesn't impact performance of the overall Wi-Fi communications components, just using the reflected waves. It probably obviously puts a strain on the processor and memory that's in there, but that's fascinating. I thought that was pretty interesting, man. Wi-Fi motion. So once again, another use for Wi-Fi. Speaking of another uses for Wi-Fi and Philadelphia, got to give a shout out to this organization. This organization is pulling Kensington communities together by spreading Wi-Fi on outdoor rooftops. Philly Community Wireless is tying together different places in its community. I haven't heard a project like this in so long that I had to give it some love. What they're doing is they're volunteering, and they're going out and they're installing equipment so that everyone in their community can have access to free Wi-Fi. Part of their process, the success depends on the properties around the public spaces. So they have got to figure out where to go and who to work with. And once they get it set up, then different people can provide injection points into the network using their broadband services. And there's pictures. If you're looking at the webcast here, you can see pictures of the little equipment boxes that they put in place. But kudos to these guys for going out there and doing it and providing Wi-Fi in a way. I mean, this is like literally how Meraki started, was just like this, was MIT RoofNet, trying to figure out how to connect apartment buildings together. This is how it started. So to know that in 2025, we still have people out there deploying rooftop Wi-Fi at Philly Community Wireless. Very, very cool. So congratulations to them for getting some press. Glad to hear that people are still taking the initiative to try and figure out creative ways to get stuff online. Starlink, speaking of getting online, Starlink is on 1,000 planes already. 1,000. They crossed 1,000 plane mark, so you can get Starlink on your flights. That's nuts, because the flight that I had from Texas to California and then to Australia, I had pretty decent Wi-Fi. There were times that it cut out on the way over there. Coming back, it was much worse, maybe older equipment or whatever it is. But one of the people I work with who was flying didn't have any internet access all the way from Melbourne back into the States. And wow, I mean, when's the last time you were on a plane that didn't have Wi-Fi? And I guess you would expect that on a 16-hour flight, you've got access to Wi-Fi, but didn't have it. So Starlink doing that, setting the standard up there, as we move into more providers being in that space. That space, he says. More providers in space. Expect those numbers to go up, and expect people to have better Wi-Fi access. Can I get a Morse Micro Halo driver in WLAN Pi yet? Whoa, I don't know, man. Let's see if they show up to WLPC and see if we can get one of those hacked together. Anyway, WLPC this year, just as a teaser, again, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be testing out some really neat stuff. The team from Alethea has said that they're going to bring some equipment along with them, and really we're going to have a really good time testing out some access points and some capabilities, and having some vendors put their money where their mouth is and seeing what happens in a real world environment. So looking forward to WLPC as usual. Okay, I need some water. I talked a little bit too long about some stuff, but it's been a minute, so I wanted to make sure that I catch up with everybody. I hope to see you at some of the shows I'm going to be at. As I mentioned this weekend, I'll be in Houston at TRA, Texas Restaurant Association. Please give me a shout out if you're in the Houston area. You want to come and say hi, grab a coffee, and talk wireless. And then Southern California for the next 2 weeks down in Huntington Beach. If you're around and you want to see what we're doing and you want to see some Eero deployed outside, please give me a shout out to come by then. And then I've got a couple trips after that, but reInvent's coming up, and Meter Up is coming up, and WLPC is coming up. But until then, I hope to see all of y'all soon. I feel like, a lot of my friends are listening, which is great. It's something I love about this industry. And on that note, I do want to just bring Eva back up just for 1 second again, because, I know it's really difficult to make a transition from one job to another, especially when you get into a job that you've been trying to get into for a while, or that you feel passionate about, or that it's something that is a mark on your resume of something that you never thought that you would be able to do. And I know that feeling. I was just talking to my wife about this last night. I remember sitting there watching the phone, waiting for a job offer to come through. Like, wow, I can't believe I applied to that company, and I can't believe I went through the interview process, and I can't believe they're actually going to hire me. And you get to that point, and then you're in the job, and you're sitting in it, and you're loving it. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you transition to something else, and a new opportunity opens. Take a second to stop and go, God, I can't believe that I made it here, and I'm so grateful for being in this position that I can accept another position somewhere else. And one of the things that Eva brought up was how difficult it was to make that decision. And I know that. I remember, when I left one company for another, I remember genuinely feeling gutted. Like, I love these people. I love this. I love the company that I work with. I love the people that I work with. I just don't see myself rising above a certain level. So I need to make a move to increase what I'm doing, or make more money, or more benefits, or do more things, or whatever the reason is that you change jobs. And I feel like we are in a very unique industry in the wireless space, where it's never necessarily about the company that you work for. It's about the person that you are, and it's about who you are and what you contribute and how you contribute. Because when you get into a room filled with people that work with every other vendor, chances are 2 years later, a lot of them are going to be swapped and going to be working for other vendors, but they're still the same people, and they still maintain who they are and what they do. And yeah, they may move to a company because they're excited about the product or the project that's going on at the time, and maybe that doesn't pan out, and they move over to somewhere else, and they're excited about the project that they're doing there. It doesn't mean they don't like the other one, or that the other one sucks. People don't leave. You don't leave and go, I didn't leave a company and go, oh man, their products are terrible. Dude, you worked there. Like, you loved working there. Don't turn around and say they're terrible. Maybe they're not as innovating as fast as they used to, or maybe things have changed. But one time you were dying to get into that position. Don't turn around and act like you weren't. You didn't love it. And so I loved Eva's mention of what she did, because it was really neat to see that this is, she's a friend, she's a person, she's a human, and it doesn't matter where she works. She's a fun person, she's great to hang out with, and she puts good content out, and she truly enjoys helping people. And I don't ever want our community to lose that. And that's why I always like to talk about it, because I think it's important to realize that the people that you work with, if they're good people, you're going to see them in other jobs, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe 5 years down the road. And it's such a cool thing to be able to support people and be supportive of their successes. And I think that sometimes that gets lost. I was listening to a story last night about a friend who eclipsed one of his best friends and was able to move forward where this person thought he could and he couldn't, but his buddy did. And it broke their relationship. It broke their friendship. And I was like, man, how fragile is that friendship that can break it? But then it made me think that probably happens a lot more than I think. So if someone that is looking for a position and they're trying to move, or they're trying to make an upward move, or even a lateral move, just remember that it's about the people. And regardless of what hat we're wearing today or what shirt we're wearing today, that can change today. It can change tomorrow. But what really makes a difference is the people and the personalities behind it. So, Eva, congratulations to you. You're a wonderful person. I love hanging out with you. I'm so stoked for you on this journey. And I know that it doesn't mean that the company that you're coming from was bad. I know that it means you're just looking for something in your next chapter of your life. So kudos to you. And I hope people can remember that when people make moves from job to job. Anyway, I don't know why I felt like I needed to go on that rant, but that's the rant that I just went on. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and as soon as I can cut a new episode, I will. But until then, thanks for listening to Waves.